Yo, we are back for another video today. Come on! Chicos, you need to understand that in the same way that your pits always smell rancid, you are also always on mission for God. When I went on a mission trip last year to Japan, I was in a posture of prayer 24/7. Whether I was walking through the bustling streets of Tokyo, or standing in the packed trains, or buying stuff in the mall, or cleaning my butt cheeks with bidets, we were always praying for the Japanese people around us, and we were always trying to see where God was moving externally and internally. Now at first it was really tough. I had never intentionally prayed so much in my entire life, but as God broke down my stubborn heart, compassion slowly grew, and I started to feel this deep empathy towards those around me, these random strangers, that it even made my throat dry and my eyes watery like I was watching Harry die in Spider-Man 3. But seriously though, soon enough it became natural for me to just be praying for the strangers around me, whether I was walking through the streets or standing at the train stations. My mind entered a missional mindset because the urgency to reach the lost with the gospel became real to me. However, when I came back home from the trip, I noticed that I didn't really pray as much. I would walk by strangers and I wouldn't even give them a second thought. I would go to church and I would end up praying for the speaker and the people who were listening. I just kind of dropped all the good practices I had built in Japan. It was only during a mission debrief when a sister told me I should be perceiving that much difference between the mission field and the home. At home in Canada, there's still plenty of people in the buses, restaurants, streets, and malls, and many of them don't know Jesus. So why am I not praying for them? Why is evangelism and discipleship not as important when I'm here on my homeland? Why do I think that just because I'm done with my mission trip, that I can just go back home and start living the same life, ignoring strangers and praying only for myself and my closest friends? Is this the mindset that Paul would have had, or any of the early Christians in Acts for that matter? This got me thinking hard because there was really no reason for me to forsake my missional mindset. Just a week ago, I met a new brother in Christ, and he just finished his first year in undergrad, and we were taking an hour-long bus ride back, so we were talking about mission trips, campus fellowships, and he was sharing how he was trying to be a light on his campus, sharing the gospel and mobilizing saints. And yo, it got me so hyped because to see a young man passionate like that for God, for growing in his faith and living out the way of Jesus, he had that hunger for God, the type that keeps you up at night, you're ravenously reading the Bible every single day, you just want to share the gospel, you just want to grow in your faith, you want to step up and lead in your Christian communities. Dude, we need more people like him. So while he was sharing all of that, a thought came into my mind and I was thinking, why is our mindset so different from our mission trips compared to when we come back home? In Japan, I remember waking up early before the scheduled activities every single day, and I'd be praying the Psalms, doing devos, spending quiet time with God, and all throughout our day, my awareness was just heightened, trying to see and sense where God was moving and what he was doing in the mission trip. I'd debrief with my teammates, we'd have all these spiritual convos, and I'd talk to strangers and ask them for their stories and listen with such a keen spiritual eye. When I faced any challenges, I always brought to the Lord in prayer and just persevered. No joke, me and my brother Will, we'd wake up at 2 to 4 a.m. to pray and just have these deep talks, and it would be so crazy. We were freaking animals. We were hungry and we wanted to see what God was doing in Japan and in our lives, and we didn't stop until we saw what God was doing. But now we're back home, we crawl out of our bed, we're scrolling reels for an hour, and then we drag ourselves through the school or work day, maybe rushing through a quick devo, if anything at all. What happened? You know what Hudson Taylor said? He said, "Oh, how it must grieve the heart of God when he sees his children indifferent to the needs of that wide world for which his beloved, his only begotten son died." Come on! How can we not have a missional mindset? How can we settle for anything less? Imagine if we were Christ-centered, prayerful, faithful, courageous, sacrificial, open-minded every single day this summer. We'd be absolute beasts. Imagine the type of people we'd become, and imagine the type of things that we'd be doing for Jesus. Yo, I need to decimate a misconception here because a lot of us see missionaries and think, damn, they're legends. But really, missionaries aren't doing anything that much different from how we're living right here where we are. They're just living in places where there are hard to reach people groups for the gospel. The only difference between them and us right now is their intentionality, their missional mindset, which we can turn on, each of us. Would you go on a mission trip and just stroll around all day? You would just waste your time scrolling reels, gaming? No, you wouldn't. What if we lived like missionaries here, trying to make the most of every single opportunity, every single day, every week, every hour, and seeing where God is moving, leading, and calling us? What if you saw every day as an opportunity to grow in your faith, to glorify God and serve Him and His people? Life can be mundane if we want to see it like that. Or we can see life through a missional lens, and it becomes so much more. With a missional mindset, each day brings huge opportunities for us to bring Jesus to people and see how He's moving powerfully every day. Like, that's crazy, but like, it's so true. So what are you gonna do about it? Will you have faith that God can do abundantly more than anything that you can imagine, anything that you can expect? Why can't He move mountains? Why can't He provide opportunities for you to have spiritual convos with non-Christians, or the opportunity to sharpen or be sharpened by your brothers and sisters? It can happen, but if you give up, just throw in the towel, and just think that there's nothing more than these mundane rhythms of life, that lackluster and aimlessness, then you're gonna miss what God's actually doing in your life and what He's inviting you into. This summer, my goal is to live out that missional mindset. I've been praying for a month now or something, just trying to pray for that hunger, that passion to grow in my heart, and it really has. And you can join me in praying on the Discord, because I go on there every day, posting my prayer points. The plan for myself is to be involved in more non-Christian spaces, two of which comes to mind: skate parks and local game stores, where I can enjoy hobbies with non-Christians and slowly build relationships, being a light in those spaces and praying for opportunities for those spiritual conversations to come up. I'm also looking into volunteering at some homeless shelters in downtown Toronto, because I don't know, man, being on the ground with the people in the community, that's something that I've been wanting to do, and just a way to serve, because I think that is such a breeding pool for spiritual potential. And of course, leaning into my Christian community, which is the young adults at my church, seeing what God can do in their lives, in their spiritual formation and discipleship. And yeah, those are ideas for myself this summer, but I really do hope that it can get you thinking on what is possible. And let's not forget that beyond being with people, the missional mindset, first and foremost, is about being with Jesus. And so I'm trying to spend more time in the Word, and you can follow what I'm reading because I share everything on the Discord every single day. And yeah, I'm just genuinely excited to see what God can do and how I can become more like Jesus this summer, because that's 2 months. It's a long time. So let's take it seriously. Come on. Before we end off this video, I want you to take a moment to really think and imagine what God could do in your life if you really took on this missional mindset. Like, the possibilities are endless. If you went all in this summer, think about the impact that you can have on your own heart and soul. It'd be crazy. Think about the impact that you would have on your brothers and sisters. It'd be through the roof. And the impact you'd have in your community would be out of this world. So let's stop playing and start praying. Let's stop fooling around and start shaking the ground and live in heaven bound. Woohoo! And this is what we plan to do here at Barak Project. We are creating a movement, and you are invited to play a vital role in God's mission. You can also join the Remnant, our growing community, on Discord, and sign up for my mailing list to receive my bi-monthly prayer letters. But that's it for me today. Just remember, if anyone then knows the good they ought to do and doesn't do it, it is sin for them. So please, kill the flesh.
Showing up uninvited. Phone up, girl, I need to go silent.